on to the state tournament.
Right, only 1 week from today, the state hockey tournament will start down in St. Paul, and it's only fitting that the first participant for the tournament would come tonight, and it happens up in the Iron Range as usual. The first entrant for next week's Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament was indeed determined this evening. As usual, Section 7 was the first to crown its champion. It happened tonight at the Hibbing Memorial Building, where defending champion Hibbing squared off against Greenway. Eric Giselson was at the game, and he now joins us live from Hibbing. Eric?
Well, thank you so much, and I tell you what, 5,500 people here at the Memorial Building tonight. They went home satisfied. They may have been a little disappointed if they were from Greenway, but they went home satisfied because they saw a great hockey game. Section 7 championship belongs to the Hibbing Blue Jackets, courtesy of a 4-2 win over a very feisty and a very hard-fighting Greenway club tonight. Hibbing goes back to the state tournament, courtesy of a 4-2 win. We have some highlights for the first period, which saw Hibbing take a 2-1 lead after that first 15 minutes of play. Hibbing was very, very physical in the first period. Here we go. Tom Pascuzzi in the penalty box for the Raiders capitalize on the power play. Ron Rudnick feeds Jarek Vekic at the 3:28 mark. Vekic scores, makes it 1-0 Greenway. Hibbing came right back with a power play of their own. 2 minutes later, Paul Girardi scored. He beat Greenway's Jeff Stolp on the wrist shot. 1-1 hockey game. The physical Blue Jackets took a 2-1 lead just before the first period ended. Girardi tallied on the backhand this time, which found its way home through Stolps' legs. 2-1 Hibbing. Girardi had a pure hat trick tonight. And by the way, Greenway did have their chances late in the first, but Jacket goalie Jim Monticelli rose to the occasion. Here he stops Kenny Jernander point blank. Well, I'll tell you what, as we went from here, Hibbing got goals from Girardi in the second and another goal from Doug Terrell, but Greenway answered to make it 4-2 when Kenny Jernander scored. That made it 4-2 in the hockey game, but that's the way it ended with the Hibbing Blue Jackets returning to state, as I mentioned once again, with a 4-2 win from the Memorial Building here in Hibbing. And joining us live right now, head coach Bill Olson and Bill Teacher, the assistant coach for the Hibbing Blue Jackets. And Billy, congratulations on I want to say big win, because it is a big win.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
What's going through your mind post-game here?
Well, I'm relieved. Pressure is incredible on both coaches and hockey players, and it's just a lot of pressure. I just feel emotionally relieved right now.
Did you anticipate this type of game tonight?
We anticipated a very, very difficult game, yes.
Let me ask your assistant Bill Teacher something. Bill, I thought a game that Hibbing pretty much dominated on some very offensive goal flurries, but still you guys were getting back and you were back-checking and you were playing two-way hockey. That had to be a very maturing point for your club and something that's going to carry you in the state tournament.
Well, we pride ourselves in team defense, and the goalie played well, our defensemen played well, but our team defense is what did it. We've only given up 2 goals now in 3 region games, so we're very happy with that.
Bill Wilson, did you have something to prove when you came back after last year when you made an early exit and you lost some blue chippers, Johnny Hyduke, Tommy Hansen, or some names that Duluth people know? Did you think you had something to prove coming back and repeating?
Well, we weren't trying to prove anything. We thought we'd have a 500 season, and of course our long-range goals were to work towards a tournament. But the kids have fantastic growth, and I guess that was very satisfying to watch them grow the way they did. But this came with the work of our assistant coaches, Mike Terrell and Bill Teacher, and the excellent leadership that we had from the returning kids that our seniors.
Okay, one other question as you prepare for next week in the St. Paul Civic Center. You guys know what to expect down there. You've had some chances to compare clubs here, this club versus last year. Is there a comparison, or are there any glaring differences?
Well, it's unfair to make a comparison. Last year we had 12 returnings going into the state tournament. Now we got 12 young people, new people, and they're going to be in awe of all the peripherals. So it's going to have some effect. We'll have to get by that psychologically, and we've got a lot of work to do.
A whole new ball game. Bill Olson, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck in Minneapolis. And Bill Teacher, thank you very much for being with us. My thanks to Bill Teacher and Bill Olson from the Memorial Building here in Hibbing, where Hibbing has beaten Greenway tonight in the Section 7 championship by a score of 4-2. Steve-O was a great game. Of course, well, the complete story, we'll hear from a few more Blue Jackets tomorrow night at 6. But for now, let's go back to you.
Higgins was in the St. Paul Clippers will face Anoka Saturday in the arena, because in the second game there tonight, the Tornadoes won from Alexander Ramsey by a score of 3-0. Greg Nelson was in Hibbing for the Section 7 championship game at the Hibbing Memorial Building.
Third straight year, Hibbing is the Section 7 hockey champion. Tonight at the Hibbing Memorial Building, the Blue Jackets got 3 goals from Paul Girardi and down the Greenway Raiders 4-2. Power play goal by Jarek Vekic gave Greenway the early lead at 3:28 of the first period, but Girardi scored on the power play at 5:32, and he got his second of the game at 14:08 to put Hibbing on top 2-1 after 1. Girardi completed his hat trick on the power play at 1:41 of the second period, giving him 7 goals in the past 2 games, and Doug Terrell followed that 21 seconds later for a 4-1 Blue Jacket lead. Then Ken Jernander scored a power play goal for Greenway at 3:35, and the score stood 4-2 Hibbing after 2 periods. Greenway had a 4-on-3 advantage for 1:49 late in the third period, but the Jackets killed it off to secure their section title. Jim Monticelli finished with 21 saves for Hibbing. Greenway goalie Jeff Stolp turned away 37. From Hibbing, Greg Nelson, Channel 3 Sports.
The Greenway Raiders 4-2 at the Hibbing Memorial Building in Hibbing. Eric Gislason has it all on Action Sports coming up next.
Expected to do much, but now they are going to state, and even head coach Bill Olson is surprised.
I have to admit that, yes, they did surprise. You know, the way things looked, it looked like possibly we'd be a 500 club, but I have to credit our coaches, Mike Terrell and Bill Teacher. They did a fantastic job of helping pull the leadership together, and the seniors did a fantastic job of setting their long-range goals.
Even though Hibbing put on the pressure early in last night's sectional championship, it was Greenway that jumped out to a 1-0 lead when Derek Beckich scored. But the Hibbing Blue Jackets were not alarmed.
Oh, yeah, first, you know, that first initial stun, you know, that first shift you go out after that, you're kind of, you know, in between. You don't want to go out there and go crazy and forecheck hard, but sure, it gets you nervous for a second, but after you get out there one shift, no. We know we've been behind half the year this year. We've been behind by 2 goals, so it didn't worry us too much.
But Hibbing came back and took a 2-1 lead going into the intermission on this goal by Paul Girardi, who has been red hot in the sectional playdowns. He has now scored 7 goals in the last 2 games. This one, with just 52 seconds left in period number 1, made it a 2-1 hockey game at the intermission. Girardi picked up where he left off in the second period as John Rue will find Girardi open at the side of the net. He easily puts it home, and Hibbing was on their way to the sectional championship and a trip to state.
I don't know what it is. Our line's been clicking right now, and everything's been going good for me right now, and hope it doesn't stop.
Next stop for Hibbing will be the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament, which starts next Thursday. Hibbing will play in the 9:15 game against the winner of Section 8 tonight between Moorhead and Bemidji.
Meanwhile, Raider goalie Jeff Stolp 2-1 Jackets after 1. Early in the second, the Jackets exploded. Girardi completed the pure hat trick in the opening minutes on a power play. The feisty senior ripped his centering pass home from John Schwartz to make it 3-1. Seconds later, 20 to be exact, sophomore Doug Terrell put his Jackets up 4-1. Somehow, some way, his shot finally finds its way through all the traffic. 4-1 Hibbing. Meanwhile, Greenway didn't fold. Just 2 minutes later, they cut the Hibbing lead to 4-2. Kenny Jernander's shot partially blocked by Monticelli, but it trickles past. Derek Beckich got the assist. But Hibbing's defensive grinding style held steadfast. They went on to win by the same score, Hibbing 4, Greenway 2.
We weren't trying to prove anything. We thought we'd have a 500 season, and of course our long-range goals were to work towards a tournament. But the kids have fantastic growth, and I guess that was very satisfying to watch them grow the way they did.
We pride ourselves in team defense, and the goalie played well, our defensemen played well, but our team defense is what did it. We've only given up 2 goals now in 3 region games, so we're very happy with that.
Well, our game plan was just to play the body and shoot the puck. We figured he was a sophomore goalie. He might be a little nervous, so we wanted to shoot the puck and play the body.
You guys had a lot of flurries, but you still managed to get back and back check. Did you see the game pan out that way?
Yeah, we wanted to keep a guy high in case they had a quick breakout, so we just kept a guy high for the back checking purposes.
Well, at this point of the prep sports season, it gets tough to pick our Action Sports Prep Athlete of the Week, but after some deliberation, we've named Hibbing hockey captain Paul Girardi this week's recipient. Girardi, a catalyst for the Blue Jackets, scored 7 goals in 2 Section 7 playoff games this week, and when you figure Hibbing only combined for 9, it tells you something about how integral Girardi's role was this week. Guy like you's been seeing red lights in your sleep. You pumped 4 on Tuesday night. You got 3 tonight. Can you put a finger on something like that?
No, not really. Just luck. I guess I had horseshoe in my back pocket tonight.
On to Section 2 we
Gain
go.
another trip to the state tournament.
3 Paul Girardi goals gave him 7 in 2 games and helped Hibbing continue its Section 7 dominance with a 4-2 win over Greenway last night in Hibbing. The Blue Jackets were primed for their 3rd straight section title, but Greenway's Derek Beckich converted Rod Rudnick's cross-ice pass on the power play put the Raiders on top at 3:28 of the first period. Girardi tied it for Hibbing at 5:32 on the power play on a quick wrist shot, and then surprised Greenway goaltender Jeff Stolp with a shot along the ice at 14:08, put Hibbing up 2-1 after one period. The Blue Jackets quickly made it 4-1 in the second period. Girardi completed his hat trick at 1:41 by converting a John Schwartz goal mouth pass, and Doug Terrell used the screen to beat Stolp 21 seconds later. The Raiders got back in it when Ken Jernander's drive escaped Hibbing netminder Jim Monticelli still early in the second period, and Greenway had a 4-on-3 advantage for nearly 2 minutes of the third, but Monticelli and the Jackets shut the door. Monticelli ended up with 21 saves to 37 for Greenway's Stolp. Blue Jacket coach Bill Olson wasn't sure of what he had in November, but he says the squad came along nicely.
Well, always there's a question mark. You know, you graduate 12 kids, and it takes a lot of luck too. But I have to give the kids credit for the work and their willingness to work throughout the year, and the leadership from our seniors who helped pull us together into the camaraderie that we needed to become a cohesive team.
Hibbing will face either Bemidji or Moorhead in the state tournament's final opening round game Thursday night in St. Paul. Greg Nelson, Channel 3 Sports.